Hello everybody, it's Glass Half Dead, and today I'm looking at Warhammer 40,000, and specifically, unlike I suspect most other channels, I'm looking at the Harlequins. That's right, we're not looking at the craft world, the Aeldari as a whole, we're looking at Harlequins, and as you know, I don't know anything about 40k, and so with me, I have Dom. Now, I could shower this man with accolades, but I'm going to let him do it because I like to make my British guests uncomfortable and force them to boast because we hate it. Dom, who are you and why are you teaching us about Harlequins?
Hello, I'm Dom. I'm from the Drakari podcast, Real Space Raiders, and the YouTube channel Let's Talk Wargaming, which is an interview platform, which is fairly new. We've only had 3 videos, but we're doing quite well on views. Um, but yeah, I'm a bit of a tournament player. I like my Eldari, like Harlequins and Drakari, and last year I was the #1 ITC ranked UK player. So. Yeah, I think I know my stuff. So I've come on to kind of give my initial reaction to the book and well specifically Harlequins.
Awesome. Now, also, just to continue with the accolades, weren't you also like number 28 worldwide?
Yeah, number 23, global
I
global.
apologize. I apologize.
Yeah, which was yeah, I didn't even aim to get that high. I just
Okay.
kind of played Warhammer because I like it, and
Outrageous.
apparently did well. So yeah, that was the thing.
Awesome. So, okay, I think that's more than enough. You've got yourself some content. You've got a podcast, you've got a channel. You're also incredibly good at Warhammer. And as someone that knows nothing about Warhammer, but has this bizarre channel that has nothing to do, that doesn't require me to know about 40k, I am abusing my privilege and bringing people on to explain it. And so, one of the best in the world, very legitimately. So, why are we looking at Harlequins as opposed to everything else?
Purely, the reason is that I think they are the secret winners in the Codex. A lot of people are going to pick up the Eldari Codex and go through page by page by page and splurge all of this news onto you. But I actually think Harlequins are really interesting play, and especially because they can soup with Drakari and they can soup with Eldari and Ynnari. There's so many different avenues you can go down. Like from my perspective, from a Drakari player, I'm looking at Harlequins to add a more dynamic use of like speed to the army that I wouldn't necessarily have. Um, so it's a really interesting book, and I think they're incredibly powerful. So yeah, we both think that they're like great, and it'll be great talking points to have a little chat about.
Sure, so let's answer the first thing first. Harlequins used to be their own faction, their own
Yes.
codex. Now they are in another faction's codex, essentially. Are they still a real faction?
Yes, they still are a real faction because they can take their own like battalion patrol of your own stuff. But the thing that's kind of made them being introduced to this new codex is that they have a rule which is basically they can join any uh, Eldar, Drakari, or Ynnari detachment, and you don't break your detachment rules. So in Warhammer 40k, if before this codex came out, if I wanted to have Drakari or Eldar with Harlequins, I would then have to break my Power from Pain ability, which makes Drakari so powerful because that's in every single turn. I'd get a buff to so like turn 1, I get a 6+ invuln. Turn 2, I get an advance and charge, and it's so powerful. But then if you bring Harlequins in, it gets rid of that. But now you can keep your Harlequin's abilities and your Drakari abilities, and it's a win-win. You don't break anything, which is the main reason why they're kind of in this book because they can interact with Ynnari and Eldar seamlessly.
Okay, but just to drill down there a smidge more, if I want to go only Harlequins,
Yes,
can I do that? And is
yes,
it is it also
100%.
viable
It's
in
very
whatever
powerful.
for? Yeah.
It's
Okay,
very
okay. All
powerful,
right.
and I think if someone was running a pure Harlequins army, because all of their units are so cheap, it's going to be quite a problem to deal with. and I think I'm building up to have a full Harlequins army. At the moment, I've got about 1,000 points to go in with my Drukhari, but my aim in a couple of months is because of money and painting,
Hmm.
I've got to kind of wait a bit. But in a couple of months, I will have a whole Harlequins army ready to fight everyone on the battlefield.
Okay, excellent. In that case, I've flicked through the codex whilst you've been talking, and we are on the Harlequin's detachment abilities page, and we are on the Sadaths. So, for those that don't know, the Sadaths are, I don't know what the official term is. I call them subfactions because I'm from Kill Team.
Yeah.
What are they actually called?
So the Sedas are for they're basically the different types of Harlequins that you can take, and there's three types. There's light, dark, and twilight, and they're kind of like the different kind of like gangs, if you wish, or sub factions within the army,
Mm.
and each one has specific buffs. So if you're coming from like someone who's just started in Warhammer, it's like having your Ultramarines or your salamanders for space marines, or for like chaos it's like having your like world eaters or emperor's children. They're harlequins as a whole, but then when you come down to it, they're their own sub factions.
Okay, and this is where I try to pull out my own tiny bits of knowledge. The way it's currently worded in 40k is that if something has a selectable keyword,
Hmm.
that selectable keyword has the same selectable keyword has to be the same. So, for example, I couldn't go light, dark, twilight in three different detachments. I have to pick one. Is that right?
Yeah, so yeah, you can't have three
Currently.
different. If you want three different patrols or detachments, you have to go with the same light or dark, you know.
Or okay, awesome. So in that case, what are the different subfactions then? What does light, dark, and twilight do? And I guess which would you consider to be, I don't want to say the best, but the default pick?
Okay, so they're all completely different. And they all each one has their own individual relics and warlord traits. That if your warlord is part of that light, dark, and twilight, they can take that relic. You can't take the relic if you're not part of those. So the light is this is your bonus abilities on top of what you get as a harlequin anyway, and your ability as a harlequin anyway, you get a 4+ invuln, you get -1 to hit in combat, and you can move through models as if they're not there, but you can't land your base on top of another base. Um, so in addition to that, so light, each time an attack is made against a unit, with the attack characteristics, on a unmodified hit of a 1 to 3, the attack fails if you're 12 inches away, which is really good.
Now that's
And
transhuman, right?
that's
I got
transhuman.
it. I'm learning.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. All
which is
right.
really big,
Yeah.
especially when you've got like well, loads of transports, and you've got loads of like bikes flying around the place.
Mm.
It's really good that those units are already hard to hit with their invuns and denying rerolls and denying -1 to hit. And then on top of that, they're transhuman, which makes them so hard to kill. And then inside you got all of these crazy clowns that are going to run at you. So that's one of the abilities, and each time you make a move, advance, characteristic, or a shooting, it counts as remain stationary, which is really good if you've got heavy weapons. And then there's some specific warlord traits and relics. The relic on this is really good because it adds 3 inches to your aura. So when you're doing psychic powers, so with your shadows there, you can add 3 inches to your aura. That's light. Then we'll go to Twilight because Dark's my favorite, and I just want to touch on Dark for a second. Yeah. So,
Sure.
so Twilight is each time a unit with this characteristic fights, uh, and it's made a charge move, or was charged, or perform a heroic intervention, add 1 to the attack characteristics for the models and units. You get an extra attack if you've been charged or you were charged, which is great. So each troop will have 5 attacks, which is a lot of attacks. Then each time a model with the with this characteristics makes a pile in, you can add 2 inches. So in Warhammer, you when you activate, you can move 3 inches with your unit around around to kind of gain extra
Mm.
movement and to get all of your attacks in. With this, you can add 2 inches to it, which is really, really good. So there's a lot more movement characteristics there, and that relic is the Twilight Fang, which is a relic you can give to your troop master. And what it is it's a relic that replaces your power sword, and it gives you +2 strength, -3 AP, and 2 damage. And it's really, really good. It's really, really good.
Okay. And that's in Twilight, not Dark, right?
That Twilight, yes. So
Good.
that they're the two that I think are good. But the one I personally like the most
Right.
is Dark, because Dark is you get an extra AP to your weapons. So your normal Harlequins weapons go from AP2 to AP3, and then when you die, you can fight for free, which is really
Okay.
good. So usually there's stratagems where if a whole unit gets wiped, you can just fight again,
Yeah.
as if you fought. This one, it's just that they just do it. It's really, really strong. And then there's a stratagem which is really good into the current like game, which is 1 CP, and you can ignore Overwatch, which is really good against the new Tau Menace that is around, where they can Overwatch for free. And yeah, it's really, really good. The Relicon for the Dark as well is very powerful,
Mm.
because you basically, if you give it to your troop master, he is now can deny psychic powers as if he was a psyker, and he has this aura ability, which is he takes away the objective secure ability from enemy models within 3 inches, which is
Okay.
so big if you're trying to go from a transport onto an objective and take the objective to score points. You can take away the objective secured word, a keyword from a unit, which usually would make sure that they control the objective.
Right. And of course, maybe I'm about to say something dumb here, but of course, all of your players have OBSEC,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so therefore, chances are, if you're on a point and you're about to use that, you probably have a model with OBSEC on there. So you're
exactly,
just
and
stealing points left, right, and center.
exactly, and it's very useful.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, makes sense. So you're feeling Dark is kind of the strongest. I've got to
Yes,
say, for me, as a noob, I liked the idea of Light just
yeah,
because it's makes you a little bit more durable. Hopefully, it makes it a little bit more forgiving for when you mess up.
yeah,
Um, and also, I believe they have the after a normal move or advance in your movement phase, in the following shooting phase that you could. Oh, okay, I read it wrong. I thought it was going to let me charge even after having advanced, and I thought that was like a default. I thought, oh, that's really good, but
that's
it's
what they
not.
get. That's what Harlequins have anyway.
Right, so they don't even need that. So,
Literally, yeah,
all right,
it's
never mind.
in the They can. It's called Rising Crescendo,
Right,
and you fall back, shoot, or charge and advance, which is really good.
madness.
Yeah,
Okay.
light is so if you're going for pure Harlequins
Mm,
as an army by itself, light is the way to go. That
okay.
is because you're going to have so many boats right flying around the place, and all the little tanks as well,
Mm,
and bikes. That is going to be the way to go as light. But if you're going to be souping, like that's why I like the dark.
sure.
Because it works really well with my Dark Elder
Right.
Drakari.
Okay. Awesome. In that case, we have to go to what is typically considered the scariest page for me, and we're looking through the codex, and the people watching are going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages of strats. Now, I do want to, as I saw that, I got terrified because stratagems to me seem like such an important part of 40k, and if I'm not playing them correctly, I'm not playing 40k, really.
Yes.
Um, but the way these are set out is, again, Harlequins only have 2 of these pages, not 4, not 6. The other 4 pages are just for Eldari. So these 2 pages has 16 different secondaries.
Hmm.
And I do want to say the fact that Harlequins has 3 subfactions instead of 6 and half the amount of strats actually as a new player makes them way more approachable. Like I'm
More playable, aren't they?
it less to be overwhelmed by. That's for
Yes.
sure. I mean, even when I was looking at the Custodes Codex, which is a small codex, they still have, 20 data sheets or whatever. But
Heavily.
but over here we've got 8. And it's like, well, yeah, okay, I could probably figure that out. Uh, so I could probably actually remember my rules. That's what I care about.
Yeah,
So
and it's
we still
important.
have 16 strats though.
Yeah.
And strats still scare me. So which do you think are the ones that I really need to keep in mind as I go into my games?
Okay, so I'm going to give you three so that it's easy to remember and everyone listening can go, oh, I'll look out for that. So
Yeah,
number
sweet.
one is one called dramatic entrance, which is so when an enemy is charged, if there is a unit within 6 inches of like if you've got two units next to each other, this one's being charged, this other
Mhm.
one is just next to it, and he doesn't want to charge that one as well. What you can do is spend the command points, and you can heroic intervene 6 inches. So that unit that's 6 inches away can now almost it's almost like charging. You just
Mm.
heroically intervene, which is the rule, and they can move 6 inches towards the closest enemy unit that's charged.
Okay.
Huge, huge,
Okay.
and you go because he could charge like your troop master in the open, and then now suddenly he's got five or six troop that are there ready to help out in the fight.
Okay. All right. I always forget, or not forget, but don't know how to properly utilize heroic intervention. And
Yeah.
so you're saying, I mean, obviously, bigger heroic intervention range is good, um, but you're saying it's worth the CP, and that's
Just
something to keep in mind.
let me put it into like a scenario. So
Mm.
you got a troop master on an objective. He gets charged by, let's say, 5 space marines. Okay, those 5 space marines are objective secured and they can hold the objective. Now your troop master takes away the objective secured um, ability of them because he has that as his ability from the dark,
Mm.
and then you heroic intervene with your troops onto the objective, and now you're in combat with them. They're really resilient with a 4-up invuln and -1 to be hit. Now you've taken that objective from him, even if you don't kill all of the Space Marines.
Okay.
So it's quite nice. The next one is the Torments of the Fiery Pit, and this is +1 strength and +1 attack,
Oh,
which is great. It's just really useful. It's really cheap, and you just go. I'm gonna make my Harlequins a bit more hard hitting. Sadly, you can't put it on the
yeah.
solitaire,
It's
but
a
he
character only, right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
that is why it's not the solitaire, because it would be
Yeah.
very very good if it was
Okay.
him. It's really
Okay.
good for like troop masters and everything like that. Then the last one is like a combo. So
Right.
it's Murderous Spectacle, which is the first one, which is +1 to damage for all Harlequin infantry. And then you paired that up with the Oblivion's Caress, which is the stratagem for 2 CV, and that's no invulnerable saves. So what you can do is you can basically attack in with this is again with the combos with Dark that I'm trying to promote.
Yeah.
Extra AP, so your AP 3, and there'll be no invulnerable saves on the unit that you're attacked with to up. I think it's like a 5+ or something like that.
Right.
Something like that.
Okay.
So when you attack, say like the new Custodian's Bikes or Custodian Guard, you go in, and because you're damage 3, you just wipe the whole unit.
Right. Like
Which
you
is
mean statistically that's what
yes,
you're gonna roll. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
because basically because you're making your damage of your troop damage 3, and then you're taking away the chance of you're taking away their ability to save against your attacks, and
Mm.
because it's so much damage, each model will just die, which is a really good little combo to think about. But that's like the three stratagem thing combos to look for, which is the first one was the dramatic inch, which is 6-inch heroic and uses combos like I said before.
Hmm.
Number 3 is the Torments of the Fiery Pit, which is just extra strength and attack because it's just really, really good. And why wouldn't you? And especially when usually Eldari are quite weak. And then the last one is the Murderous Spectacle with the Oblivion's Caress strat combo. I think they're really good.
Okay, awesome. Which takes us on to pivotal roles. Now,
Yeah,
again, as a noob, okay, so my understanding is that these are similar to the Space Marine. I call them Chapter Master upgrades, but I know
I,
you can upgrade other things, right?
yeah, 100% correct, and
Yeah,
it's it's really good. So
sure.
basically, what this is for everyone who isn't like aware of even what a chapter master upgrade is,
Yeah,
what it is, you can spend points, not command points, your actual points that you spend during army building, and you can give your various characters an upgrade. And what the upgrade does, it gives it a special rule which only that model can have, and they're quite pricey, but they're very, very worth it.
right.
Yeah, they're super good.
Okay, so yeah, like when I'm building something, I never know if these are like when I first saw them, I thought they were like crusade upgrades. I
Yeah,
was like, these seem weird, but then other people since have told me, no, if you ever take a whatever the unit, X unit, you always take that upgrade because that's just how it should be default, like the apothecary or whatever. So
yeah,
for the four characters we have, the Troop Master, the Death Jester, the Solitaire, and the Shadow Seer,
yes,
can you pick like one of these that is kind of
yeah,
their
absolutely.
thing? Yeah.
So, I would go for the Shadow Seer, and there's three of them. There's Agents of uh, a big word,
Pandemonium. Yeah.
Pandemonium, uh, Gloom Spider, and Mirror Architect. There's a really good one called Mirror Architect, which is while friendly units are within 6 inches of this model, each time an enemy unit is selected to shoot, when measuring the range of the to the model, you add 6 inches away. So you can
Oh,
go back to the one you liked with the light,
hmm.
which is
12
uh,
inches.
they're transhuman. Okay, so you put this as well. So they're transhuman. The boats are -1 to hit with no rerolls allowed. And now when they measure to shoot you, and they're in range of your units are in range of the Shadow Seer, they have to compensate for an additional 6 inches away. So
Okay.
most of the time people try to just get their guns in range because Harlequins are going to launch themselves at you. With this, you can basically tell them like you need to come an extra 6 inches forward, but otherwise your guns are out of range. And a lot of people will forget about this, so when they come to shoot you, they
They
actually are out
can't.
of range,
Right.
which I think is really, really good.
What a gotcha. What
Hmm.
a Okay. Uh, quick question there. Now an aura, could you put this guy in a transport, or
No,
you don't get auras in transports? Okay,
you don't get that in a
that
transport.
sounded too good. That sounded too good to me. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. We then go, unless there was anything else that you felt like you just had to say about those upgrades, or you were happy with just mentioning that.
I think they're all incredible. Like
Okay.
you can make them all super kiddie.
Okay.
Like the Death Jester has one which every six to hit scores 3 additional hits.
Ooh,
So
okay. Yeah.
they're all incredible, and I think your viewers like just pick any of them,
You
and
can't
they're
go
all
wrong.
gonna be great.
Okay. Excellent. Good. Right, we then go to the. Now they give this title such a boring name, but Harlequin's chapter approved rules. It means
Yes.
the secondaries. That always confused me. Why the chap? Anyway, so they have a possible three. Now,
Hmm.
one thing. So I could read these and I could say that sounds like a good thing, but inevitably, whenever you're picking secondaries, you know because you're actually a good player and know rules that, for example, that faction is already good in this
Yeah.
category, in the Warpcraft category, or the No Mercy No Respite category.
Yeah.
And so actually, although yes, the secondary here is fine, good, or the best of the three, you're never going to take it because you already have something for that slot. Are any of these three actually go-tos in their category?
They're all interesting,
Okay.
and one thing you have to realize is with the new rules that have come out for chapter approved for 2022, you can only take one of your faction specific ones. So really you just got to choose the one that you can really tech into. And because Harlequins are like in your face all the time, like attacking army, these all work really well. So basically the way to break it down is you have one called take your places, which is you basically put markers around the board which aren't objective markers, but they count as like the take your places markers. And if you hold any of those extra places, you get 2 points. So if you hold them all, 4 points. That's good, but it's taking away from you actually holding objectives. That's what you got to think about. Okay, then you got the deadly performance, which is there's different categories that you have to fulfill, and then you get points for if you do two of them. So if you kill more than three units in melee, which is hard to do. Two, which is destroy two units in shooting. Again, that's quite hard to do. And a unit wholly within your opponent's deployment zone. That's only good at the end of the game. And then if you control an objective marker that you didn't control at the start of the phase. So I'm not so keen on that. The one I am keen on is the weave veil. So
Right.
what this is, so in the Warpcraft secondaries, there's one called psychic interrogation, and what that means is you basically psychically interrogate a character, and you get 3 points for every character time you do this for a character, which is good. But people hide the characters.
Mm.
What this is, you do the exact same sort of ability, but you do it on any single unit. So every time you do it on a unit, so you've got a unit Space Marines over there, you do it on them, cool, 3 points. But now they can't be interrogated again. So then you go to a Dreadnought, you do it on him, great, another 3 points. So over the game, as you're in his face, like doing all your buffs with your Shadow Seer, you can just be interrogating or weave veiling all of these different units to quickly rack up your points. And I think it's really, really good.
Okay, awesome. That's the Warpcraft 1 Weave Veil. Nice.
Yes.
So we then go to the relics. Now again, we have a whole load of different pages of relics, but
Yeah.
we don't care about half of them. We only
No.
care about these. I think it's 6. They have access to 6 relics, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
then you've got faction Pacific ones as well.
yeah, the subfaction ones. Yes, of course. So any of these good? Any of these
Yeah.
worth taking? Okay.
Yeah, I think there's 2 which are really good, which
Okay.
for me personally I think are just great. So you got a Kiss, which is a combat weapon, and it replaces your. It's called I can't remember the full name of it, but it's the one with Rose in it. So that has
Oh, I
plus
can't say that name either.
yeah,
The
plus 2,
Gorax, I don't know. Yeah.
-2 AP and flat 3 damage, which is sorry, yeah, no, it's +2 strength, -2 AP, and 3
D3
damage, which is
damage.
really
Yeah,
good. And then it's reroll wounds, which is really good. And it
that's
opens up
good.
the stratagem because it's a kiss for the kiss stratagems, which is mortal
Right.
wounds as
Okay.
well, which is really, really nice. And then the other one, which is really good, is the Laughing God's Eye. You just have an aura of 5+ Feel No Pain.
Oh
So
wow.
after you
Okay.
take damage on your army, you get a second save, which is on a 5+, you ignore the damage. So going back to your light build that you
Mm.
talked about, where
Yeah.
you're already transhuman, your transports are already -1 to hit, and they don't take any rerolls against them. Now they've got a 5+ Feel No Pain,
Yeah.
and your shadow and the ability to make everything 6 inches further away with
Mm.
the ability or ability. Suddenly you're really hard to kill if you're a full Harlequins army, all balled around
Yeah.
a Shadow Seer.
Now, noob question for you. This says Harlequins model only. So can it go to literally any model? Or does it have to be a
Well,
character?
anything with the Harlequins keyword.
Okay. And then, this is just me not knowing how the rules work. And then, if it's a standard troop model, a standard player model, does it apply to the unit? And so
Yep.
you are putting out the aura from the unit, or is it still from that one model?
So it has to be for like a Shadow Seer or or any of these sort of characters that you have,
Oh, it has
and
to
then
be a character. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
because that's the only way they can take relics.
Sure.
and then you can pay command points for them to
Gotcha.
pre-game for them to take them. And then it's an aura ability around them where if anyone is
Yeah.
in that aura, they get that benefit.
Sure. Nope, I'm with you. I didn't know if it had to be a character, but yeah, that sounds super good. And then we have just 3 warlord traits. Again, super easy, even for me to figure out because there's only 3. But which of these are any good?
So number 3, which is
Okay.
I think the must-have
A
if
foot
you're
in the future.
yeah. So that's each time your warlord advances, add D3+3 to your move. Each time you make a charge roll, add flat 6 to the
Whoa.
roll.
Okay. That
That's
sounds really good.
yeah. Because
Okay.
if you roll 2 6s, you go 18 inches.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, you
No
can't.
more failing a 2-inch charge or a 3-inch charge. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're basically, you automatically make an 8-inch charge. So you can come out of deep strike, and as long as you don't roll 2 1s,
Right.
you can make a deep strike charge
Whoa.
automatically.
That seems really good. I've got to
It's
be
very,
honest.
very, 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 very good. And there's a reason why solitaires can't take warlord traits, and this is why.
Right, okay. Okay, very nice. Very nice. Which takes us over to now I believe the Shadow Seer is the only psychic model we have access to.
Yes, yes, that's
Also, I we'll probably cover this later, but when it comes to the character models, am I right in thinking you can only take 1 per detachment?
no. So,
Oh, okay, you can just stack them up.
yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
there's the rule of 3, which is so you can only take like 3 troop masters or
Sure.
um 3 types of tank, but then troops and vehicles that are dedicated transports, you can take loads of.
Okay.
But so you can take 3 troop masters, 3 shadowseers, 3 death jesters, all that sort of stuff.
Okay, fair enough. I thought I remembered seeing something about you couldn't take more than 1 Death Jester or something, but
No,
obviously incorrect. Fair enough. In that case, the Shadow Seer, of which you might have 3, can only take from the Phantasmancy, I'm just going to say that,
yeah,
discipline. Um,
yes,
and then you've got 6 spells in there. Like,
they're all
what sort of kits are you going for there?
So they're all great. Every single one of them is
Oh, okay.
absolutely amazing. And you're going to see kind of a correlation between Shadowseers and being incredible in this army. So we've already talked about the aura abilities that they can have with the -1, -6 inches to your shooting, and then the 5 up feel no pain that you can do. And then there's other auras as well. So there's another aura in here called which is Webway Dance. So if you already don't have the 5 up Puna Pain aura, that you give them the upgrade, you can have a psychic power that just does it on a
Very
6
nice.
plus. So
And,
if you want the other pivotal
yeah,
role, you've got a psychic power which gives you this ability anyway.
very cool. And those don't stack, right?
No, they don't stack. They
Okay,
don't.
just making sure.
Thank
Just
God.
making sure.
But there's a very good kind of gotcha as well.
Okay.
So there's one called the Fog of Dreams, which is you choose a friendly unit within 12 inches. Now that can only be targeted if it's the closest enemy unit within 12. So you can have like a Death Jester just in the open at the back of your board shooting his big long range sniper rifle, and then you just go, okay, you are on the objective completely in the open, but you can't be targeted because you're not the closest,
Right. Very
which is
cool.
really good. Which is really so if you are on a table where there's not enough terrain and you can only hide all of your army apart from one unit of say like bikes that you have, you
Mm,
can just go, you can't be targeted, which
right.
is really good.
Okay. Good to know. Obviously, just stacking up all of that
The shadows there is
resistance.
the clear winner.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, good to know. Good to know. Now, we so obviously Warcom has been talking a lot about battle focus
Hmm.
as the Eldari's new thing, but we're not Eldari.
We're not.
We are
No.
Azayani, which is the
Yes.
name of the race as a whole, which is not Eldari, and I always get confused by them. And instead, we have the thing that you already mentioned, which is Favored of Cain, which gives us the 4-up invuln. Um, we, we can only lose a max of 3 wounds in each phase. No, I'm reading the wrong thing. I'm just talking about something else. In that case, I'm on the wrong page. That's why. Okay, I was getting very confused. All right, okay. We have Harlequins Panoply, which
Yep.
is what you mentioned, which gives us the 4-up invuln, etc. We then have Rising Crescendo, which you also mentioned, which is what allows us to charge after advancing.
Yeah, so yeah, you can advance and charge, you can pull back from combat and advance and charge. Sorry, and charge, which is really good. Yep.
And then we have Luck of the Laughing God, which you haven't explained to us yet.
It's
So,
awesome.
okay, break it down for us.
So at the start of your 2,000 point game, if you're playing 2,000 points, it's less if you have 1,000 points and less if you have 500 points, but more if you have 3,000 points. So it goes up and down depending on how big your game is. So the one I play is, and the majority of people will play, would be the Strike Force. Okay,
Mm.
that means you get 3 luck dice at the start of the game. So normally you get there's a stratagem for one's command point, and you can re-roll a dice you don't like the result of. This gives you 3 of it for 3 of those dice for free. So you get 3 luck dice to re-roll things you don't like. So if you do roll that double one, if you're coming out of deep strike with a troop master, you just go, okay, well, 1 luck dice, there we go, I've changed the result. So which is really good. And then also on top of that, in addition, you roll 6 dice and you gain 1 dice for every unique dice that is there. Okay, so if you roll like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 perfectly, you get all of those 6 dice as extra luck dice, which is really good. But any doubles just get ignored.
Is it any doubles get ignored, you don't get either? Or if you roll, you mean the second dice of the number?
Yes,
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, cool.
which is really good. So it's
Okay,
basically giving you free re-rolls, which also gives way more efficiency for your army, which is really good.
okay, awesome. And it's a reroll. It's not like a miracle dice or something where you have a set number.
No,
It's
you
okay.
pick your dice up,
Roll.
you just re-roll it, which is
Awesome.
actually better because
Oh, okay.
so it's more random, but there's so many times where you're just like, oh, I need to re-roll like into a 3+ for like mortal wounds or a psychic test. You just get to re-roll the psychic test, which is
Right.
really good.
Oh, okay. Now, that's kind of that done, and I guess we go to data sheets, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we start with the most pivotal data sheet, if I can use the Harlequin terminology there. The most pivotal data sheet, which is the webway gate.
Oh yeah.
Now, am, am I ever using that?
Um, I think in Eldar definitely,
Okay.
but in Harlequins maybe not,
Okay.
because Eldar have got secondaries which go along with the webway gate.
Cool.
Harlequins have just really resilient troops anyway, but it's basically an unkillable fortification that your Harlequins can just come out of the webway. It's
Okay.
really good if basically you plant the fortification on the table, and you can just come out within engagement range of it. So if,
Right.
if you've got like space marines who are near it, you can just get out and you're in combat with them,
Yep.
which is good. And it is, yeah, so it is good, but I think if you're going pure Harlequins, you're going to be going loads of boats everywhere, and they're already incredibly hard to kill. So I don't think for Harlequins you'll see it, but if you want it, it's an amazing model, and they're huge. They're
Right.
about the
They're
size of my head.
yes. Yeah. They look like they're just small spindly things, but they are not.
They're
Like
not
they're like the
huge.
size of my monitor. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Uh, so okay, let's get to the real data sheets because I that was a joke answer. That was a joke question. Okay, so there's there's only 2 HQ, so we should probably cover them both. Okay, we're
Yeah.
40 minutes in, and with how bloated 40k has gotten,
Yes.
normally the data sheets take longer than the pre-rolls, but I think like we're almost done. You
Yeah.
know, like there's not many data sheets.
There's not.
So there's 8. Yeah. Well, sorry, 9 including that webway gate, which was
Yeah.
very important we talked about. So Troop Master Shadows here. We obviously
hmm
already know how you feel about the Shadows here quite a lot. But
hmm
what about the Troop Master?
Yeah. So Troop Master, he's basically like your captain who just goes and punches people in the face. That's literally what he does. He just runs at people, screaming and shouting, and he just cuts the head off. And he's
Sweet.
like not your assassin. He's kind of like your bully. And what his rule has at the bottom right of his data sheet, he gets to reroll ones for any Harlequin units within 6 inches, which
Okay.
is awesome. So you get to reroll ones to wound with the Harlequin Troopmaster nearby, which is amazing because he is going to be in the thick of it anyway. So which is really, really good.
Okay. How would you consider loading him out? Because that's something we haven't talked about yet because we haven't got to the players. But
Yeah, so I would load him out either with a kiss, or I would load him out with the power sword, because the two relics are really good with the for this. They got the power sword relic, which is the storied sword, which is +2 strength, -3 AP, 2 damage, and auto hits the targets. Now I don't know if you give him the warlord trait, which does on a 5+ you get immortal wounds, because if it automatically hits, can you count all the dice as sixes? So then it's
ah,
6 mortal wounds in addition. I think that needs clarification, but that would be really, really game breaking if that was the case. So anyway, that relic is very good because you automatically hit the target anyway.
sure.
And the other one I spoke about before, which was like the combo where you basically do like mortal wounds on 5s and 6s, and you get the uh, Queen's shards and the kiss relic, and that basically makes him a super killy unit.
Okay. Cool. Do you have anything more to say about the Shadows here?
The Shadows there is the best unit in the book, and your whole
Wow.
army revolves around one or two of them. That is what it is.
Okay.
He is your kind of he brings the army together because he's got so many different abilities which can help you. And his other the shield from harm ability is each time an attack is made by this unit, subtract 1 from the attack's wound roll,
Oh, okay. That's pretty
which
cool.
again is super good. So it doesn't count for the bikes, and so it
Right.
doesn't count for the transports,
Right.
but it does when it counts for troops and you're out in combat, which is really good.
Okay.
So
So,
rather than doing the stuff on 2s and 3s, it'll be like 3s and 4s.
okay. And I assume that does interact with the mini transhuman they have.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay. Very nice. And I suppose the other question there is, how many shadows like
As
are
many,
you taking 1, 2, or 3?
I'm gonna you 100% you take 1 in every list.
Okay.
2, I think 2 if you're going pure Harlequins, 1 if you're going to soup in with Eldar or
Okay.
Drukari.
Okay. Fair enough. And but then do you also feel that assuming pure Harlequins, you feel there's merit in the troop master as well? It's
Oh,
not
you
just
take
take 3 shadows here.
you always just take 1 Troop Master and 1
Oh,
Shadow
okay.
Sith. But
Cool.
then if you're going pure Harlequins, you can go
2.
3 Shadow Siths and 2 Troop Masters, or whatever you feel like. You
Okay.
when you get your teeth into the book, you really can dial down what auras and abilities you're going to need.
Okay. Awesome. In that case, let's go to the troop, the players.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
what are they?
so they're basically a bucket load of attacks in
Yeah.
small units. So uh, thing that's changed really about them from the last codex is their caresses, embraces, and kisses are all the exact same, +1 strength, -2 AP, 2 damage. But then what they have is a keyword. So you can have so you can basically have in your squad, you just basically have two or one of every weapon,
Mm.
and the whole unit counts as having that keyword for kiss, embrace, caress, so you can use the stratagems, which is really, really good. It means that you don't have to have the entire unit with kisses to
Mm.
have to be able to use the kiss stratagems. They all will attack using that stratagem, which is really
Right.
good.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Is there anything else to note about them? Well, that's pretty
They're
much it.
just really, really good. So they're fast. They're -1 to hit with a 4 up in Vuln save. They're really weak in like when you hit them, but they're marksman to hit, which makes it better, and they've got 4 up inven, so they're in combat. They're really hard to shift. And for 1 CP, you can make for 1 or 2 CP, you can give them a 3 up inven save, which is really good if you need them to survive. And they're going to be the staple of every list, maybe 6 units of them.
Okay, awesome. Which then takes us to the elites, which is
Yes.
there's only 2, right? Yeah, there's only 2.
Yeah,
Death
only 2.
Jester and Solitaire. Death Jester.
So I'll go over these briefly because there's not much really to talk about other than what role or pivotal role they have in the army. Death Jester, he's your sniper,
Yep.
and he's basically your support character that you can turn off Overwatch with abilities, and he can snipe characters. That's his ability. That's what he does. He's super cheap at 55 points, and he basically just harasses units so that you can fulfill your killy abilities with your troop. And then the Solitaire is your one man or woman army. He just
Yes.
he just launches himself from A to B and kills everything.
Right.
Literally magic is this unit. Everyone before the Codex drops was thinking that he is bad or not what he was, but
Okay.
I don't understand how people can call his datasheet bad when you go 2D. You go every time you blitz, you get 2 extra attacks. You move an extra 2d6, and he already moves 12, so he gets 10 attacks at plus 2 strength, minus 3 AP, and 2 damage. And remember from before about that stratagem I said about plus 1 damage. So you can be damage 3, and then the other one, which is plus 1 strength and plus 1 attack. So you have 11 attacks at strength. Strength 8? No, strength 7, minus 3 AP, 3 damage. It's a lot. It's a lot of attacks, and you
Okay.
can just launch yourself at people. You just go, right, I need that dead, and off he goes.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Cool. Right. So, to me, the Blitz ability, I feel like you kill one thing and then he's probably done, right? In
Well,
reality.
he's always got a 3+
He
invulnerable
does.
save.
I see that. Yeah.
So he's only 5 wounds, but he's minus 1 to hit, 3+ invuln. It's very good. And if you blitz him near vehicles, he can hide behind the vehicles so they can't be shot. Or you can do that psychic power of
Yeah.
um within 12 you can't shoot him. So over 12 inches you can't shoot him. So
What
there's
what makes him -1 to hit? Sorry.
in combat the the Harlequins are -1 to hit.
Oh, yep. Army wide rule, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. All right. Yeah. Sounds good. Let's go to Skyweavers, the fast attack, the only fast attack choice, in fact.
Yeah, so these got a points increase from the
Okay.
previous codex. Only I think it was about 5 points, which is probably worth it because they're so much better now.
Oh, okay.
So they've got 4% invulnerable save, and then they're always -1 to hit, and you cannot re-roll the hit dices against them.
Ah, nice.
Really
Okay.
good. It just stops the efficiency of like Tau, stops the efficiency of gunline armies.
Mm.
Even Drakari, when we're shooting our Dark Lancers at you, we can't re-roll them. And then they've got 2 cannons, which is the Shuriken cannon, and you've got the Haywire cannon. And then you've also, for an upgrade, no, that's it. That was it. And so
Yep.
yeah, the upgrade, you can either use Zephyr Blades, Glaives, which is close combat, or you replace your combat weapon with Star Bolas, which is basically like a grenade, which
Okay.
is minus strength 7, -3, 2 damage, which is really good. But I think you want to kit these out with the Haywire cannons and Zephyr Glaives, because then you're really fast, you're really good in combat, and you can do mortal wounds to tanks.
Okay. Cool. Uh, which takes us. Oh, it's like. So I remember I think in the pre-codex, the last codex, you would sometimes see big blobs of Skyweavers.
Yes.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, I think it is still a thing, but I think
Okay.
you're going to see way more transports. I think you're going to see
Right.
maybe six transports with troops in, but
Okay.
surrounding a Shadow Seer at the start of the game, and then one
Right.
unit of bikes, which the Shadow Seer goes, you can't target.
Right.
I think
Because
that's
you
the
would
way.
just need to touch, like within 612, whatever the aura range is, they're very back bike, and then that
Yeah,
entire unit is whatever, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So
very cool.
they're just very, very good. I think the troops now are just way more damaging than the because before the troops weren't 2 damage,
Okay,
and you had to upgrade them and they were a bit iffy. But now they are the flat 2 damage, and so are the bikes. The bikes are more like a utility to support whatever happens with the troops.
sure. Okay, which takes us to Void Weavers, the heavy, yes, the only
Yeah,
heavy support choice. What are
I'm gonna
these?
recommend that every Harlequins player takes 3 of these
Okay,
because they are so cheap and too cheap, if I'm totally honest.
right.
They're always got a 4 uppers in one. They're -1 to hit, and they have basically you want to take the prismatic cannon, which is two shots, basically one against troops, one's against tanks. So one
Mm,
against tanks is 2 shots, strength 12, -4 AP, 2d3 damage. Very
nice.
solid, and with
Yep,
your luck dice, you can make sure those hits go through.
yep.
Then you've got the good range of 36. Fantastic. Then you've got your disperse pulse, which is the second firing mode. So it's got blast, which means that if you're firing against big squads, you automatically get 3 shots per dice.
Yep.
So you could get up to 9 shots at strength 5 -3 1 damage. So they perform the pivotal role of moving around, taking out tanks, and taking out big squads of annoying screens that you don't want in front of your troops.
Okay. So, would you ever take the haywire cannon on that
It,
or?
it is tasty at 3 damage,
Hmm.
but I think just having like the further distance away from your enemies nicer because it's 24 inches rather than
Yeah.
36. So I would
Okay.
prefer to be further away if I've got a tank.
Okay. Fair enough. Which brings us to the final unit, which is the Star Weaver, which is the dedicated transport for Harlequins. What do we do?
Yeah,
You've
this
already
yeah
said take 6.
take 6. It's however many troop squads you have, I would just take 1 for because
Okay.
they're incredibly cheap as well. They've always got a 4% run save, and they're -1 to hit, and they're just fast. And what they have, each one of them has 6 strength 6 -1 2 damage attacks, and it's got shuriken ability, which means on the 6+ to wound, it's AP -4.
Right.
So within your tank, so you've got your tanks at the back shooting all your big heavy weapons, and then you've got all of these boats flying forward with bikes, and that's all of your anti troop clearing shots. So if you've got 6 like 6 shuriken cannons just coming out of 3 boats, it's just loads of attacks. So I just think they're absolutely incredible for their points as well. And I suspect that they might get more expensive.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's all of the data sheets and all of the rules for Harlequins.
Mm,
Sounds solid. Yeah. A small army, so feels very beginner approachable to me.
yeah,
Um, and from the sounds of it, it seems like there are now within the codex ways to make yourself more forgiving for slip ups. Whereas
yeah.
before, I think you had to play the board a little bit more and hope that you could hide enough. Whereas now, even if you can't, there's a touch more survivability there, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that's 100% a fair way to say it. And it's now less punishing against shooty armies because you have the Shadow Seers and the no rerolls against tanks and the bikes and the transports and the -1 to hit, and you can just go that unit over there can't be shot. It's just way more survivable. So I think Harlequins are looking like a secret gem in this codex.
Okay, awesome. The entire faction is a hidden gem.
It is.
Now, of course, it's already been linked in the description and the top comment, but Don, where can we find you if we've been won over by your winning personality during this interview?
Thank you very much. Well, so you can find me on the Real Space Raiders Drakari podcast, where we talk all things Drakari, going from hobby to lore to competitive play. And that is on Buzzsprout, but it's mostly you can find it on Spotify and iTunes. Then that's the Real Space Raiders podcast. Then Then I'm on Let's Talk Wargaming, which is a YouTube channel, and it's kind of like an interview platform where I interview content creators, and it's fairly new. Come out at the start of the year. There's 3 episodes out now, and maybe by the time this is out, there will be another one. And I just interview content creators, and that is on YouTube and Spotify, and that's Let's Talk Wargaming.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Dom. It's always great to have somebody that actually knows the game and has a proven track record and is just enthusiastic about the rules and the mechanics of everything to explain it, not just to me, who is playing the useful idiot somewhat, but also is actually genuinely not good at the game, and to not much just myself, but also my audience. So thank you very much for coming along. Do you want to say goodbye?
Thank you very much. See you.
Thank you very much for watching, everybody. This is me, Glass Half Dead, and Dom, and I hope you have a good day and continue to have a good day. Goodbye.